Hey there, backers. Thomas and Aaron here.
Hey, Kickstarter.
Team Linvander. We are working on Gascony's Legacy. We're super excited for this campaign. At this point, the campaign is launched, and hopefully you are watching this video because you're interested in backing it. There's lots to tell you about this campaign, but first we're just going to say that this is one of the more unique dungeon crawly combat kind of games we're going to be doing. If you've been involved in any of our other previous Legacy games, you would see that each of these cooperative games have a cool, unique element, yet we still use a lot of the same components and stuff between each of the games. It's kind of our brand and feel. And so yeah, now it's time to take us to France and do the Three Musketeers.
Gascony's Legacy has a lot of elements you'll be familiar with. This is another game chock full of quests, some of the same wound tokens, character sheets use a lot of similar elements from the past, but there are some new mechanics in this game we're very excited about. So the point of this video is to take you through some of the cool new mechanics we're introducing, especially in the combat system of the game.
So here we are. We'll take you quick rundown of everything you see here, because these are some of the components that we plan on having in the game. We have our character sheets. On the character sheets, you've got special abilities and support abilities. The key difference between the two is that special abilities are activated for your character only, and support abilities are activated by having your opponent be able to activate, your ally activate them for you.
The whole point of the support abilities is that we wanted to capture the camaraderie of the Musketeers in a way that really hasn't been done. So each character's got a unique support ability that can be used by any other character.
Which is really, really fun, as long as you're in the same zone, and this is a zone. We've got other things in here. We've got your typical Destiny token. We've done these before. This allows you to re-roll dice and change the facing of certain dice. We brought back dice. Let's talk about that. So right now we've got the Stones of Chance, which if you've played Albine's Legacy or Neverlands, you'll know that the Stones of Chance are the cool multi-faced dice that we have, the altruism, the prowess, loyalty, and yada yada. These are core in actually playing this combat system out. You'll also see we've got 2d6. 2d6 is important because as a combat system goes, our 2d6s will give us the variance in numbers that we need to defeat certain defenses. It's a very fencing game. I mean, the Three Musketeers is all about rapiers and muskets and fencing and unguard, and so this is going to be a very swashbuckly style type of combat style.
Which is why I'm playing D'Artagnan. I want to feel as much like a swashbuckler as possible.
Yeah, and I'm going for Athos because personally I love Athos. I think he's my favorite character. Plus he likes rum and so do I. Moving from there, we've got equipment cards. You'll see here there's a pile of equipment of the same style of things that we've had in Albans and Sherwoods. These equipment cards all have particular stats on them, including attack modifiers, ranges for guns and muskets and daggers and all that stuff. There's also a special ability that can be activated using your Stones of Chance. When you roll the Stones of Chance, if you get the icon that matches the icon on your ability, you can spend that die to activate the ability of the weapon to do stuff for you on the board.
That's going to be, that particular way of assigning dice is going to be repeated throughout the game on various elements. So like if you look at the characters' special abilities and support abilities, they also use those dice combinations in order to allow the characters to activate those abilities.
Yeah, so an example at the beginning of a round, as a character, if Athos is going to make his moves, I would roll some dice. That's how you start it off. You're going to roll the dice, and we'll actually get into this in a second, but we'll keep describing this to you. Whenever you roll, those combinations of, there'll be various things you're allowed to do with these dice, but the combinations are what you're allowed to play with to activate your special ability, your support ability, your weapons abilities. And one unique thing, because it's a cooperative game, is that you can actually choose at any point throughout your turn, you can choose to lock in certain dice to give to your comrades to activate their own stuff. They can choose what to do with it. So for example, we've got these cards, the all for one cards. And because this is a cooperative game, the all for one cards it's like a one-off hurrah that everybody gets to take advantage of. It's a really cool sort of like, on guard, we get to do our thing onto the battlefield, and it really changes the ebb and flow of the game. So for example, the one for all here, or the all for one card, sorry. On the other side, this is, and the one for all. There's different types of all for one, and then we've got armor up, right? So in this case here, the one for all, we've got 3 loyalty crowns and 1 altruism crown. If all 4 of these get locked in, we spend it. That's what we spend. This card gets activated, and each player gets an extra attack. And that's really huge on the battlefield if all the players are strategically positioned, and then we pull off the all for one for all, and then we get to do a blast of attacking, which is really kind of fun and cool. And the way that happens is that if I can't use a particular die, or I don't choose not to use a particular die, I can lock it into place and pass it over to my teammate, and then they roll less dice, but they at least have got that locked in. Now, it's really cool that I can even lock it in because I can help activate their abilities for them, but you can only lock 1 die. All right, so let's see here. We got our board. It's a hex grid. We've got our bad guys. In this case, we're going to go simple. We've got the Cardinal's Guard, and we've got the Cardinal's Marksman. The Cardinal's Guard, each of the bad guys are going to have a defense rating, 2 types of defense ratings. And it's important to note this because on the tokens of the card, you are going to have, or the tokens, you're going to have an area, a 45-degree angle, in which case the enemy token has a defense that is better. It means that that's the side that they are defending the most. And then they're going to have an open section. So this is the open, and this is the defended. If you can strategically play your pieces, we have standees here. So you got the standee of Athos, and we've got these little templates that are going to go on top of our standees. And as you can see, it's got this crazy silvered out area, which is the area that Athos is fighting in. And if this silvered area matches a silvered area of one of the enemy tokens, then it's going to be my primary versus their good defense. But if I can find a way to swap my stance by using action economy and change around my stance so that my stance is actually opposite to theirs, I get to attack their open area. So the game has a lot of like bouncing back and forth where you're changing stances and changing forms and techniques, and we've named them all really cool stuff for you, so that way we're living up to the fencing ideas and legends of that time. Okay, so we've gotten into this pretty good right now. We got reaction cards. And let's just get into it. Let's just show them how it goes.
Yeah, I'm actually going to start out by moving D'Artagnan. I would let you go, but I want to just rush in there and get straight to the combat.
That's very typical. Okay, so if you're going to go first, before we get that going, here's the map. We will have an objective. Just to let you know that there'll be a scenario guide. In the scenario guide, there'll be tons of different scenarios that show you how to lay out the pieces. There's going to be tons of tiles. We're never going to tell you how many tiles we give you again, because we never know in the end based on balancing. So we're going to just tell you that there's going to just be loaded full of tiles. The scenario will tell you how to set it up, what your scenarios are going to be, all kinds of fun stuff like you're used to hearing. We'll leave that for a bit of a surprise though, and then we're going to move our way in. In this particular case, we're just going to show you what a combat looks like in this particular room. This is the main hallway of the palace, and D'Artagnan is here. And Athos is here, and we've got our defense guards to our right. So we're coming in with our blades to the right. I've got Athos's rapier. He has D'Artagnan's rapier, and we'll show you how to get equipment and stuff throughout the game as we go. So, shall we dig into this?
Yeah.
All for one.
And one for all.
All right, go. So we start off by rolling the stones of chance. That's off frame.
That's off frame?
Yeah, everything here below is looking okay. So, start off by rolling the stones of chance. Okay, what do we got? Loyalty, courage, boot, and mana burst. The mana burst is unique and kind of interesting. Why is that?
Because it can be converted to any of the other dice faces. Almost like you spend a destiny to change the dice face.
That's right. Very cool.
So in this case, that actually ties in nicely because I didn't get the result I needed to carry out my line of attack the way I wanted to. I'm going to move my 3 movement to start my turn.
So each turn, everybody gets 3 movement. You can interchange those movements with your actions. So you've got 2 movement there. To turn your facing in this game, actually you have to spend movement points to do so, because it's so important to know your facing when you're fencing your opponent, dueling your opponent. So you did 3 movement there. You moved up twice and then you've turned. You've rotated 90 degrees. 45 degrees. 90 degrees.
And you'll notice I'm not in range to actually attack any of the enemies on the board, because they're too far away for me to get there. But my rapier has a special ability called Somersault Slash, where I can actually spend a altruism symbol, which I didn't roll, so I'm converting my mana burst over to an altruism symbol, to move up to 3 spaces and attack an adjacent enemy. So I will spend that, lock it in, to move 1, 2, 3.
There you go. Right
and attack
on.
the adjacent enemy.
So you're doing a side dash.
And you'll see that my attack side, or like my active side in the attack, lines up with his defended side, so I actually have to beat
a 13.
Yeah, I have to beat his higher defense value.
Right on. Okay, so you can get 2d6 at this point. Now you're allowed to side swipe and you're allowed to forward swipe, but you won't be able to attack from behind unless you got special abilities and stuff. So in this case, he kind of dashes in and then goes off to the side and goes to strike, but the guard was ready up the stairs. So you make your roll 2d6. You're going to add those together for 7. There's a modifier for the rapier, which is 5.
So 7 plus 5 is 12, so I don't actually manage to beat the guard's defended side.
Okay, so in this case here, you have options. You can blow your destiny to re-roll your dice, Maybe an idea, maybe not. Who knows? That's an action economy thing that you'll have to deal with when playing the game and decide when you want to spend it. Or you can just see what happens because there's a bunch of other things on the table that will take a while to get to you. So in this case, you missed. Now, the unique thing is that if you don't take out the guard or take out an enemy token, they get to react. And the reaction is one of the funnest, like, back and forth dually aspects of the game. So in this case, we're going to flip a reaction card up. And the reaction card dictates what the enemy is going to do. So
in this case, the guard would disengage, so he's going to switch stance and move back 1 space. So he'll go ahead and switch his stance right away.
that's amazing, because switching the stance here means that his major attack side is now at the weak flank side of D'Artagnan.
Now, in this case, he would move back 1 space, except that he's at the edge of an arena, his back's against a wall, so there's nowhere for him to move back.
So he just basically told you that he's not right-handed because he switched to his left.
Yes.
Right on. And that's what he does.
So we'll discard the disengage.
And then you've got the rest of your movement and or things you can do.
Yes. I've actually got 2 more actions left to play with, and I'm going to go ahead and use my second action to try to make another attack, because that was a little bit embarrassing, and with him switching stances, I'm now attacking his unguarded side.
So lunge, lunge. Here you go. Now it's easier to hit him because he's at a 10 rating as opposed to a 13. Oh, then you roll with that.
And then I roll like that.
Well, hey, you got one more action, right?
Yeah, so if I spend the destiny, I'd need a 6?
Yeah. Or, you could do, yeah, it's fine too. There you go. So if you spend the destiny, you have to roll again, or you just go for it.
Oh, well, I guess I failed the attack again, so let's see how he reacts.
Oh, that's right. Reaction goes off. Parry. Attack and force player to switch stances. Ooh, okay. So the guard's going to attack back. Now the guard has a 2 plus 2 to the rating. They get to roll 2 dice. Any player can take these dice and roll them.
Of course he hits me.
Yeah, that's right.
That seems fine.
So 11, 12, 13. Now D'Artagnan's weak side at this stage is 10. And therefore, because that's all of our characters currently are 10 and 13. Bam. So he gets in on the side and deals D'Artagnan a wound. So the good news is it's kind of crazy because you're seeing wounds being delivered on the characters fairly quickly, and if you've played previous Legacy games like Albion's, 1 wound is pretty much the extent of your character's life. And in Sherwood's, we don't have any healing, so when you start taking the wounds, it's basically part of your economy. In this game here, there's actually characters like Athos who have a special ability to heal 1 wound and heal one of your allies' wounds. So there's a lot of, and then Queen Anne and other characters, they have opportunities. Plus, equipment is full of things like healing equipment and stuff like that. So your wounds, taking a couple of wounds in 1 round isn't actually the end of the game for you. You have options to mitigate that, which is a lot of fun. Much like most combat games, up and down, Dungeons and Dragons, cure light wounds, arrow to the chest, cure light wounds, arrow to the chest. So, this stage.
So the second part of his attack was that he forced me to switch stances.
That's going to hurt. So you have 1 action left.
So he's forced me to switch stances, which is really unfortunate in this case, because it means that I'm not actually able to attack him back, which is what I probably would have done with my third action to continue being aggressive. So in this case, I'm going to use my third action to actually just undo what he did, switch my stance back, so that at least I'm ready to attack him next round. Now, looking at how my dice could be assigned and some of my other options, there's not actually anything else I want to do with my dice. I see that the crown can be used for the one for all, so I'm just going to pass the crown to Athos locked in.
It's actually really good too because I can use the crown and any of my abilities, so that's a very good thing to lock in for me. What else do you have there? Oh, you can only lock 1 in. So there we go. Okay, so now I get to take my turn, and then after I'm done my turn, that means the turn is over and the bad guys get to activate. So things are pretty hairy right now. So we've got like a marksman, and the marksman can shoot at a range of 3, so 1, 2, 3. So he can get me in this anywhere here, and they can also move 2. So the marksman can cover this entire area, so I gotta be careful. Do I wanna take him out? I don't exactly have, I do have a movement. I was gonna say, I didn't have the movements like D'Artagnan does, but I do. So we're gonna start by rolling the die. Let's see what happens. Okay, mana symbol, great. I got an altruism, which is awesome, and a crown, to be honest. So those 2 right there actually activate my ability. My special ability, Athos, is he can move up to 3 spaces, and enemies ignore me this round, which is really, really powerful. Because I can just run in there and cause havoc, and they're all going to go after D'Artagnan.
Which seems fair after all of the stress I caused in this round.
You caused all the damage, so you're running in there and doing that.
I tried anyways.
In this case, see here, there's no support ability for me to activate because, I could actually, because you've got an altruism, and I could spend one of my mana bursts to turn this into, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it into a courage, because the courage is what it takes to activate D'Artagnan's ability, and it's a great opportunity to show the support ability. Support abilities can only be affected by the players that are in the same zone. If D'Artagnan was in this room here, I wouldn't be able to do it. So because we're in the same room, what Athos is going to do is I'm just going to be yelling like, D'Artagnan, wait, right? And that, just wait for me, and then whatever the support ability is going to be, I'm going to activate it, and his support ability is deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy. Well, he has an enemy that's adjacent, so I would like him to deal 1 damage. So in this case, he just automatically deals 1 damage to the enemy. These particular guards all have 2 wounds, because we're making it fun and interesting for you to see a tougher combat today. So that guard just gets a wound. I guess Athos was like, parry I! He told him whatever he had to do. Now I'm going to take my maneuver. I got crowns left, which is not the worst. And I'm going to say 1, 2, and then I'm going to prepare for this gunner. So I'm going to go 3, because he's going to ignore me this round. So he's too fixated looking past the parapet to, or the mezzanine to D'Artagnan. And I'm going to take this crown, and I'm going to lock it in. Because you can carry over a locked die at that point. I'm going to lock it in. He locked 1, I locked 1. That's 2 out of the 3 crowns plus an altruism to unlock the 1 for all. The 1 for all, if he could activate it, would actually be really good in this situation because he'd be able to kill that guard. So at this stage, I'm done. Now that I'm done, the bad guys get to go. Each of the bad guys have a priority, and this particular one, the Cardinal's Marksman, is to move in range of the closest character. Now they ignore me, but they ignore me in attacks. They still want to get into range to take me down. And priority, move toward the closest character. 2 movement. 1, 2. That's not good for me. 1, 2. And then this guy here is going to go 1, and then he's going to rotate his facing to try and take me down. And the Marksman 1 and 2, but he hasn't had a chance to rotate over because he doesn't have the movement. Oh, yeah, he moves 2. So that's good. This particular guard now, there's no movement to be had. He's in a sweet spot. He's just going to make an attack. Do you mind if I...
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no problem, right? Okay, 6. Not too bad. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 on D'Artagnan's defensive 10 is not going to work. Therefore, we're good to go. Okay, so we don't get to retaliate because that's the enemy's special abilities. We get all these cool abilities and stuff to do. So that's kind of the balance of the game, the heroics of the game. Great, so the turn is done. Now we're going to go back to you, D'Artagnan.
Yep. And at the start of my next turn, I will carry over these locked in dice.
At any point in time, you can choose to roll off the locked dice or take any of the amount of dice to roll. So don't feel like that you need to keep them, but we're going to try and get this all for 1 off.
Yeah,
so,
I do want to see if we can activate it.
Yeah, especially since I got a 1 on my tail now, it would actually really advantageous for us to get that attack.
So I'm going to try to roll these 2 remaining dice.
Oh, almost the all for 1.
I did get my special ability, though.
Nice.
Which is very fortuitous, because I'm going to go ahead and spend a movement to face this guard, and I'll activate my special ability to switch my attack template before attacking.
Which is great economy, because you could do that with your action economy anyway, but this time now you get basically, you can just continue to attack.
Yes.
All right, take him out.
So I'm going to roll my 2 dice.
It's exciting to show what equipment does. 8 plus 5 is more than enough to take him out. So the guard is gone. When the guard goes down, whenever an enemy is defeated, you take these cool little quest coins. Everyone knows what the quest coins are. We've carried them over into this game. The quest coins, for those of you who don't know, welcome to Gascony's Legacy. Every Legacy game comes with these cool metal little coins, and the little coins all have different effects. In this case, the coin gets dropped. It's loot.
So what I'm going to do, since I've only spent 1 of my 3 actions, is I'm going to spend my next action to retrieve that quest coin and draw an equipment card. So the equipment card I've drawn is the Healing Flask. Discard this card to immediately heal 1 wound. Since that guard was able to get in on me, I am going to go ahead and do that right now.
Perfect. Let's get rid of that card there. And there you go. You've healed the wound. Luckily for us, he was carrying a Healing Flask. So, to pick up the coin, you've picked an action, you've attacked, you have 1 more action left, and you still have 2 movement left.
Yes. So I'm going to go 1, 2 movement, turn myself right around, and then next round, hopefully, I'll be able to make my way towards those other enemies.
All right, I'm going to give it a roll now. So you're going to keep those locked in for me?
I'm going to keep those locked in for you.
Okay.
And I'll pass you these dice to roll.
Okay, Athos has got some problems. I got to make sure this goes off now. So roll the dice. I got a crown and So I didn't get my and the prowess. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for my movement. Ooh, I'm gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna go 1, and then I'm gonna flip my stance. Oh, flip my stance is an action, so I have 1 action used. I'm gonna attack that guard directly for my second action. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 on the off one wounds him. I do want to react against him. I do want to attack him. But the only problem is that because he doesn't take him down, because we're playing with guards with 2 wounds, except for the marksman who's a 1 wound person, and there's a lot of 1 wound guards and stuff in this. We're just for this demonstration. We're fighting some harder people. He gets to react even though I wounded him. And let's see what his reaction is. On guard, attack with a melee weapon and switch stance. Okay, well that's actually a bit obnoxious because he's going to attack. Would you do the honors, please?
I'd be more than happy to.
Oh, of course. 5 plus 2 is 7. Even on my off side, because he's attacking my open spot, I'm cool. But then he switches stance. And by switching stance means we're now... It's kind of good, actually, because he's more defensive against me, which means I have to hit a higher number to take him down. So I have 1 action left. Because I was hoping to double strike him. But in order to get to his open spot again, I have to spend an action to flip. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get lucky. I'm doing it. I'm going for it. 7 plus 5 is just not enough to take him down. No, I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to blow my destiny because I really want to sink this one home. And some people like to save their destiny to the end, and sometimes I do. But in this case, I want this guy done. 10 plus 5 is 15. He's a dead man. Boom. Another guard bites the dust, and the coin gets dropped. I have 1 movement left. So, I actually have 2 movement left. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and just back up like a good Athos. I'm not going to pick up that equipment right now. And I'm going to lock this crown in. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to move. I'm actually going to... Yeah, I'm going to move. I'm going to lock this... I'm not going to lock the crown in. I'm going to leave you those 2, and I'm going to pass this over to you. Perfect. But before that happens, I guess they get to go.
Yeah.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. It's subjective. Who wants it?
Send it towards me.
Sure. 1 and 2. And then this guy's going to go 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Perfect. But the musket guy has no one in range. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now there's stuff in the way. And he's at his angle over here, so therefore he won't be able to shoot me. So 1, 2, 3, nothing to shoot. Successful move, successful guerrilla tactics achieved. So you're up.
All right. I'm going to roll my 2 dice that aren't locked in and get 2 boots.
Yay. You rolled 2 boots, now what?
So the boots aren't used for any of the combinations, but I can spend these for 1 extra point of movement each.
Which is actually really good right now, considering that you're hidden up on the staircase.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spend those boots right away.
Hey, D'Artagnan, come help me.
Go 1, 2, and then I'll spend a point of my actual movement to go 3. And I'm now faced off against this guard.
Which is really good because his defensive side is on your weak side and you're on his weak side, so you could take him down.
Which is exactly what I'm going to try
Take him
and do.
out.
And hopefully I'll be more successful now than most of my rolls in the past.
Hey, 9
plus
5
5
is perfect. Wound. But now he gets the strike, or he gets his reaction, and his reaction is throw, attack with a melee weapon, and knock a player back 1 space. So he gets to attack. I'll do the honors.
Thank you.
8
plus 2.
It's 10 on the weak side, so you get a wound.
Of course.
And you get knocked back a space. How funny that you get all that extra movement this turn just to be able to spend it all on getting re-engaged with the guy.
Thankfully, I have 2 movement left still, so I am going to move back into his range, still on the attacking his weaker side, and I'm going to make another attack.
We're so close to getting this 1 for all. 8 and 5 is enough. He's a dead man. Boom. And then we put ourselves another loot coin down. Now, depending on the scenario, there will be things happening on the board continuously. There'll be things coming in off the side, window smashing, all kinds of crazy fun things that's going to keep the pressure tight. Not to mention, we're not going to mention it right now, on exactly what they do, but the despair tokens are always a very big legacy component. Usually it's our measure for a clock. In Neverlands, it was a measure for difficulty modifiers, and so I can definitely tell you that the clock will be ticking while we'll be running around doing our things. So you've just taken them out. You've got 1 action left.
And 1 movement left.
Yeah, maybe you should go for some equipment.
Yeah, I might as well collect this coin.
Musket. Oh man, awesome. So you basically can shoot stuff from afar now at a range of 3. So hey, it's funny that there's a gunner here and you've got a gun now.
Yeah, now if only I had any actions left to shoot him.
Yeah,
So
true.
with my last movement, I am just going to move 1 space forward to get back into the fray a little bit more, and that'll be my turn. So I will continue to lock those dice in, hoping for the all for 1.
And it's actually really good for the all for 1 right now because you've got the gun. So I'm gonna roll. Oh, this is great. You
That's
couldn't
awesome.
time this any better. So I rolled an altruism and a mana burst. I'm right away going to switch this to a crown, and I'm going to put the mana burst there, I'm going to put the altruism there, and I'm going to activate the one for all mechanic. Each player gets an extra attack. So for this round, we get an extra attack. I don't have much in terms of special abilities being moved, but I've triggered everyone's things. So first thing I'm going to do is say, would you like to take your attack?
Yeah, I would.
There's a gunner right there you could probably shoot down.
So I'm going to go ahead and attack that gunner. My attack side is on his undefended side.
Excellent. You're a left-handed gunner.
So I'm going to roll my 2 dice
Ooh, 9. Delicious.
with an attack mod of 3, which beats his undefended.
9. Because he's got a weaker and undefended area. So he's just straight up with 1 wound. He's just straight up gone. Eat it.
Take him out.
And he's gone. Boom. Another one down. This guy doesn't look so tough anymore. And that was your bonus attack. So you got a bonus attack on my turn. I'm now going to take my movement. 1, 2, and 3. And I have no boots or anything to move at this point. So I think what I'll do is I'll spend 1 action to pick up some equipment.
Excellent.
What do I get? Gosh, parry dagger, melee. Oh, this is great. So the parry dagger is, so now I have 2 weapons. And so the parry dagger allows me to have a block of +2 to my open side. So now my 10 is now 12, which is fantastic. And I'm going to use another action to pick up the second coin to just load myself up with gear. The Iron Ball Grenade. This is great. I got 1 action left. The Iron Ball Grenade has a ranged attack. And the ranged attack is 4. And it uses a cross template. So
The way that works is it targets 1 space and all spaces adjacent to it in orthogonal directions.
And so because it's a range of 4 and I've still got a movement left, I'm just going to slide it. I'm going to toss it. So I got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to toss it right here because then it'll go here and take these guys out. It'll just be like, that's going to be my range. And, if we get really high in this campaign, there might even be some juicy blast templates in the stress goals, maybe. I don't know. Huh? I'm getting those looks like I don't know. And we can't tell you all the good stuff yet. So the bomb's going to go off here, but I'm just going to give it a shot. So this is a discard ability. So basically, I'm just going to discard it. It has a cool secondary ability, which is lob. And now if I had wanted to spend one of my crowns onto lob, the range goes from 4 to 7. So you're just like, you know what, I'm going to spend action economy, just whip it across the room and call it a day. So at this place, I'm just going to give it attack. It's got an attack mod of 8, and it does 1 damage to everything within the cross template. So I'm going to spend this guy. See you later. I should just put it over here with the healing flask. And I'm just going to roll. +8, pretty much. Well, it doesn't matter because it's hitting the backside. So 8, 9, 10, 11, totally gets in there. Bomb goes off here, blast goes off here, guy gets a wound, and there's no retaliation because you can't reach me, and the bomb is gone. So, that's it. Now he's going to get a chance to go. So he's going to go to the nearest character, so I would say he's going to go 1 and 2, turn to face Athos. Now this is really, really good for him because I'm completely open. Go ahead, feel free.
With pleasure.
Okay, I'll just take the wound. Done deal. Okay, you're up, D'Artagnan.
Awesome.
So the one for all
Thanks
is
for the
gone. Oh, the one for all is gone. So we discard this, and then we reveal the next all for one. Armor up. 2 altruisms, a prowess, and a loyalty. All the players receive +3 defense for the full round, which is really, really good. Ooh, excellent.
3 altruisms and a courage.
So you've got. Oh, you can activate. No, you can't do your support ability, but you can
I
activate
can use
your
my
rapier.
rapier.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm going to spend an altruism to move up to 3 and attack. And I'm going
You
to
can actually,
1.
with that movement, you can actually move.
Oh, you know what? I can do this really smart. So I'm not going to lock that in yet. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
And then I'm going to lock it in to go 1, 2, 3.
oh, look at this! Straight out of Dungeons and Dragons.
So-
Pincer attack.
I'm going to attack him from behind,
Take him out.
rolling both my dice.
That's a dead man.
6 6 plus 5 is 11.
It's enough to take
That's
him
a
out.
dead guard.
He's a dead guard. And then you actually have another action left, so you can pick up that loot.
Which I will go ahead and do.
You get the Blessed Sword. Once it has a Divine Blessing, which is a passive ability. Once per attack roll, you may re-roll any ones. Well, there you go. So this here is a great opportunity for us to show you what this game has got in store. There's a lot more to it, but we want to reveal it slowly throughout the campaign. We have great tiles where you're going to have fantastic combat abilities. All of the names and stuff of our special abilities are going to be based on actual fencing terminology. We got cool threats. We're going to have Cardinal's Guards. We're going to have gunmen. We're going to have rogues, all kinds of bandits, crazy, crazy stuff. We're looking forward to seeing what happens next. We do have some stretch goal characters. We've got the three Musketeers, Athos, Porthos, and Arimas, D'artangion himself, Lady Constance, and Queen Anne, who's going to have some great sorcerer abilities. Lots of bad guys, Rochefort, the Cardinal. What else would you say about this right now for this little video?
So those are the characters included in the core game. Who are the characters we're doing as stretch goals?
Well, we have, like I said, the 6 characters here for the core game. We actually have 2 expansions that are immediately available to go. The expansions have different tile packs. For example, the Count of Monte Cristo, which is in the same universe as the Dumas universe. Alexander Dumas is the 300-some-odd-year-old writer who worked on the story of the Three Musketeers. And so, is he 300? I'm not sure how far he is. The good thing about the Count of Monte Cristo is that it's coming with 2 new characters. It's coming with the Count of Monte Cristo himself, Edmond Dantes, and Mercedes. And so she's the Italian fencer. And so the 2 of them are going to be great new additions to the project. We have new tiles in there as well because the Count of Monte Cristo is dealing with streets and all kinds of revenge plots. The scenarios will be all based on revenges. It'll come with new scenarios, a new scenario book for that particular piece. It'll come with new tiles, new interactions, and all kinds of stuff that's going to happen on those tiles. And then, of course, the second one is the Man in the Iron Mask. So we're going to take that entire expansion, the Man in the Iron Mask, and we're going to have, of course, new tiles, more dungeon tiles, sewers. We're not beholden to that yet, but we'll tell you that they're going to be really juicy. Of course, you'll get to play Athos' son Raoul and Captain Treville, which is another big character in the universe. But to answer your question about stretch goals, we actually have a few really cool stretch goals. Previously in our Legacy games, we've been putting in kind of villains and making them good guys at some point. So in Albion's Legacy, we had Morgana. We didn't do anything in Sherwoods, but in Neverlands, you were able to play as the pirates. The character packs that are going back and forth between the games, you're allowed to play the different characters, good and bad. So in this one here, we've got Athos's beloved ex-wife, Sabina de Winter. So Lady de Winter is going to be one of our stretch goal characters. We have La Maudine. Now La Maudine, if you've never heard, is a famous actual historical female fencer, the most famous of her time in France. We've decided to honor that and put her into this project. And then, of course, as the list keeps going up further, we've got the Wolf Leader, which is another character that was brought in by Alexander Dumas's book called The Wolf Leader. It's about a guy who gets... his books are all about revenge, which is very typical for the France era. But it's about a character who can control wolves, but it's a pact that he makes to control the wolves in order to get revenge. And then it's ultimately like a Shakespearean tragedy. But hey, at the same time, he's a great character. Let's just put some wolves into the game. I think it'll be kind of fun. And of course, there's a lot more to go. A lot of our stretch goals are going to be scenarios. So the more we fund this, the more we push it forward, the more scenarios, the thicker the book gets, and the more opportunities you get a chance to try different things. And you get a chance to do campaign mode as well. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching this.
Thanks, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are as excited by these combat mechanics as I am, because to me, this is something really new and different. So I'm excited to play this game a lot once we actually have it manufactured and out
Absolutely, and believe me, this is just the cusp of what the mechanics are. We just wanted to show you, just to give you a brief overview, because it's always good in Kickstarters to give people a little example of what they're about to see. And yeah, if you played any of our legacies, thank you. You can always add on any of those products in this Kickstarter. We absolutely love you guys.
Thanks, Kickstarter.